High school softball season still a couple of days away, though the team has been practicing and getting ready. In fact, they even scrimmaged one time already against Northeastern, and head coach Kyle Ingram kind enough to be with us today. And I've always been curious, when you're ready to start a season and you get a chance to put some expectations on your team, and we're going to preview your team quite a bit here today. How do you look at that going in, from the team you had last year to what expectations you had at the end of the year, and then, of course, looking ahead to this year? How do you evaluate?
Troy, this year we're really fortunate. We've got a lot of our kids coming back. We lost two seniors, Sierra Jordan and Sydney Townsend, from last year's team. So we've got the bulk of our team coming back. So the evaluation process has really kind of already been done.
Right.
They spent a lot of time this winter individually working on their game, getting themselves ready, which as a staff we were extremely excited about. We've actually got competition now at different spots, which we've not had in our first 12 years. We've got a great group of kids coming back for us in the circle, three really, really good pitchers that for us in years past we've always had the one, but now we've got three that we really think can be extremely beneficial to us throughout the year. Of course, we've got in Mackenzie Taylor, our shortstop, fourth year, returning as our shortstop. We've just got one, great kids. Two, we've got depth. And we're also in a position where we can fill in gaps if we have to, because the kids are so versatile. So if somebody gets sick or somebody's hurt, we're not scrambling for somebody to fill a hole. Most of the girls have played almost all of the positions, with the one exception being the pitching spot.
Sure. You will look at this team much closer as you get into competition. You don't have a whole lot of time to, at least from when the season begins, to practice, because your schedule is so compact and you play so many games in a short amount of time. How does that hurt or help from a softball coaching standpoint?
Well, the thing that hurts is that through the winter, most of our girls are participating in other sports.
Right.
But that's also a positive, learning how to compete. Anytime you're participating in a sport, you're learning what it takes to be successful.
Right.
And so for us, as we go in from the winter then into spring, we take a look at what girls that are not participating in a winter sport.
Right.
And we get them together for conditioning and voluntary workouts. And as I said earlier, most all those girls that did not participate in a winter sport got themselves together, went into the weight room, went down to Hitters Hangout, worked on their individual skills. And so when we then come together, and our first official day of practice is March 7th or March 8th, whatever that date is, this year we were able to hit the ground running.
Right.
We didn't. I think we had 2 days of tryouts, maybe even a day and a half. The numbers that we had were really solid numbers. Those who came out we knew were softball players, not girls who wanted to play softball. There's a huge difference there.
Yeah.
And so from that standpoint, we feel like we're way ahead of the game. Now spring break falls at a time where most teams have already played 4 or 5 games.
Right.
We were supposed to have opened up Thursday prior to the girls leaving on spring break. But one, weather was an issue. We probably wouldn't have played anyway. The schedule was set a year ago. So when we got together with the school, we're on spring break that week, so we can't play. So here we are. We open up officially now April, I think it's the 9th, Thursday, at Eaton.
Right.
And then we go to Huntington on that Friday. Still looking for possibility to try to fill in a Tuesday or a Wednesday so we can get a couple games under our belt before we open up, because Huntington, as you well know, year in, year out, I think they are the reigning conference champion.
Yeah.
Just a really, really solid. We're going to find out real early just where we're at.
So your date of starting is I would be guessing this is a little bit later than it usually is. So you're kind of behind the 8 ball in that first week, right?
Yeah, we're starting way late.
Yeah.
And it's not anybody's fault. That's just the way the schedule fell.
Yeah.
And when you have to schedule things a year out, most sports do that, but in our case, you're looking at, football doesn't rarely get called because of weather.
Right.
Basketball, you might have a blizzard that postpones a game. But for us in softball, as you stated earlier, with a schedule of 28 maximum games basically put into like a 6-week period, anytime we get a cancellation or forced to push back, now we're scrambling.
Yeah.
And that's the way we're going to start the year. We're going to scramble.
You already had a chance to see your squad, I guess, in a kind of controlled scrimmage against Northeastern.
Mm-hmm.
What did you like and what didn't you like about that night?
I liked how the girls came out and the way they swung the bats. We were very effective with our small ball. Was really impressed with us defensively. Mm-hmm. That's been our staple from the time that Coach Marker and myself took over the program, that we knew defensively that we were going to have to be really, really good.
Yeah.
And because we don't have that dominant pitching, we've got very effective pitching. But when you look at teams that have that dominant one in the circle where, they're going to strike out 15, 16 kids in a game just because they're that good, yeah, and only have to make 4 or 5 plays in a game. We, on the other hand, are going to strike out 6 or 7 and have to make 13 or 14 plays in a game. So I was really, really impressed with us defensively, which I think kind of coincides with the players that we have coming back. They're back in positions they're familiar with. We worked with them a couple weeks, leading up to the actual scrimmage game, just kind of dotting I's, crossing T's, mm-hmm, and they took to it fairly quickly. Mm-hmm. Communication in different scenarios, runners on base, got a steal, maybe laying a bunt down, as far as the weaknesses, things that we can improve upon. But those will come as we get into games and as we get into an opportunity to practice a little bit more. All in all, I was just really pleased with them. And Northeastern is going to be a very good softball team, too. The county is going to be tough, as always.
Yeah.